Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carrie. It has come to my attention that you may be judging books by their cover, making quick, off-the-cuff decisions on whether this person is a great match for you, whether you have chemistry with them after just one date, and whether I can believe it or not, thinking that first impressions are enough information to make decisions. You know, I've got clients that I'm pushing and pulling with along these lines constantly. And if you are like my clients who are just quick to pull that trigger to make a decision because they want to know, they just need to, as a human being, just file people away in different categories. Not for me. Cute girl, but no personality. Nice looking guy, but too shy. We want to be able to get a quick read and compartmentalize people so we understand what our relationship is with them, but it's not working in anybody's favor most of the time. So I want to talk about that today. If you think this is something you are doing, I encourage you to stick around. That's what we're talking about. That is what's on the agenda. Walking in the door, she sees him. She's like, oh, that's my type. Done. That's all it took for one of my clients. Another of my clients, he sees her and is disappointed that it's not his type. His face shows it so clearly to her. She knows that this next hour and a half of her evening is a waste of time because he has already decided that she's not for him. And I, as the matchmaker, can assure you that had he given it a little bit of time, not come up with that face to let her know what was going on internally for him, and been available to her to get to know her as I had done, trying to figure out whether she was indeed a match for my client, he may have been really, really surprised in a good way how much they actually had in common. But that look on his face, that quick reaction, it killed it right there, dead on the spot. But I get it. We're humans. We like to label people. We like to make the world an easy place for us to understand, know where we fit into the scheme of things, and where other people around us fit in as well. And we tend to make assumptions that we are familiar with. And that's, I think, where some of the problem comes in. If you're used to going out, not feeling a connection and feeling like you're killing it, you're just labeling all these people as not for you. She's too young, she's too old, she's too active, she's not active enough, she's not quite spunky enough, she seems like a downer. Based on these first impressions, you feel like you've got it all figured out, I bet. However, you haven't gotten to that next step where you truly are curious about knowing who somebody is. And that's where all of the relationship and dating gold is located. Making those decisions based off what you know, what you've experienced before, is not allowing room for that person to show you anything. I would think in a dating situation, you would want to be delighted. And that can't happen if you throw that wall up knowing very quickly who this person is. I hear these terms all the time. Oh, not my type. He was kind of a bro. Oh, he was a little too nerdy and into the things that I'm not into. Oh, he was a workaholic. I never could date somebody who was spending that many hours at work, as he had told her within the first 5 minutes. Oh, got off work early tonight. I've been putting in 60 hours. She's like, nope, no workaholics for me. Because she has blonde hair, she's a dumb blonde. Because he's wearing a leather jacket, he's a bad boy. Look at all these assumptions that we make really quickly that are like killing our dating jam. You know, somebody shows a little bit of self-interest, I think would be a nice way of saying that, or a lack of interest in the person they're talking to. The other one's going to walk away and say they're a narcissist. We're even giving out psychological labels at this point. I think it's just really interesting that depending on where we're coming from, we have these stories that we tell ourselves. And with these stories that we tell ourselves over and over, they're reruns. We're never really getting to episode 2. So we feel that episode 1 just is boring. And that's how a whole entire dating life can go. I've had clients that worked with me for 12 months. 12 months of sending this fella out on dates, and you know how it went. Every episode was a rerun of the that's not going to work. I remember one time it was because he said she was not emotionally intelligent. But that decision was made in the first 20 minutes, he told me. You're gauging somebody's narcissism or emotional intelligence before the half-hour mark has even passed. She is emotionally unintelligent. How would you know? I had in my notes that I thought she was actually emotionally intelligent, and I don't write that down unless it's a vibe I get throughout the conversation. So I, in my 40-minute call, learned more about her than he did because was she nervous? Was she feeling comfortable? Was she picking up a vibe from him that wasn't really positive? In your situation, you'll never really know. As a matchmaker, I fortunately get to find out because in those situations, I was talking to every woman that he went out with on a date and getting her side of the story, her feedback. And I don't think it's going to surprise you to know that besides him making those quick decisions, big parts of the problem as to why he wasn't connecting with all these lovely women, and surely not all of them were going to be a great long-term match for him once he got to know them over a few dates, but there was not a woman in the bunch of 12. And very often this happens. I do a good job trying to find really great matches on a lot of different levels for clients. Had he gone on subsequent dates with all 12 of those women, there would have been at least 2 or 3 that he would have dated long-term. And perhaps one of them could have been his future committed long-term partner. But he'll never know because he was not open to not knowing. And I'll tell you, this is what you have to take in from this episode. Sometimes you have to be okay with not knowing right away. All will be revealed over time. But if you need that comfort of being able to know immediately and be able to calculate where this person fits in the drawers of different personality traits and qualities people have in your life, she's just like Susan. He's just like Max. If you need to be able to do that to feel comfortable, you're really doing your dating life and your future romance a disservice. Being said, so often women will say, I want somebody who's tall, good-looking, trustworthy, ambitious, likes kids, close with his family. As you can see, some of those will be discernible on date number 1. We can see when he walks in how tall he is, whether she thinks he's good looking initially has really no bearing on whether she may find him extremely attractive by date number 5. But okay, we'll go with that. She has a general idea of what he looks like. He may tell her about his job, how much he works, how much he enjoys it, what his goals are, be able to gauge on a first date whether somebody is ambitious. Might say that he's close with his family, but when you're dating him for 3 months and he hasn't talked to his mother or his sister the entire time, you might start to question that. You'd have to date him to find out if that's true. Trustworthy, certainly nothing that we can gauge from somebody that we've just met. That's something that has to be earned. It takes a while to figure out whether or not this person possesses trustworthiness. I would really like for her to be sweet and kind. I like a bubbly personality. She should be fit and slender and have something she's really passionate about, something she loves to do. If they're young, he would say that she wants to have children. She's open to people of my religion. And as you can see, both of these examples, very common things that people ask me for, both involve the way somebody looks. And again, while you can see them on a first date, I encourage you to pay attention to whether somebody you think is okay looking at the beginning of a date, and when you have a fantastic date and you're just really vibing and laughing and enjoying the moment together, whether or not you feel that they're more attractive by the end of the date. And in the age of social media, dating apps, I encourage you to keep something in mind when it comes to the looks department of the people you're dating. With all these social things, I encourage you to avoid needing social proof of the attractiveness of the person you've met or are continuing to date. I see this happen a lot, more so I will admit with younger people, probably under 45. I just want to drive home the point that what your friends think about this person, or how cute they think he is, or how hot they think she is, has no bearing on your future happiness. And to need that approval from other people is really just an insecurity. I've watched that desire for social proof kill so many early relationships. I've watched people just dump somebody because they knew this person was not hot enough to impress their friends. Well, you know what? Your friend isn't going to be with this person day in and day out, having conversations, going through struggles, having the support of this person. They don't get to know her family, see her as a mother every day. If you find somebody attractive, don't be telling yourself that there's plenty more where she came from. Lots of hot girls on the dating apps. Because that's just what they are, hot girls on the dating apps. You get out there and date one of these girls, you know what happens? She's not as sweet, or she's not as emotionally intelligent or bubbly or fit in person as she appeared in her picture. She doesn't like mountain biking like this gal does. Give somebody a chance to grow on you. If you already find them attractive, make sure that you don't need the approval of anybody else in your life to continue learning more about this person. That's really just a sign of a lack of confidence in your choices. And I don't want to see anybody missing out on great people because of something external that has no bearing on the actual relationship. And finally, I wanted to remind you that one of the really important things about going out there dating, the important things that you can bring with you besides your positive attitude and being in the moment, is that gift of your attention. But very importantly, and the reason that these labels get in the way, is that it just kills off your curiosity. And curiosity is what makes a date flow. You've got to be keeping those curiosity balls in the air the entire date, paying attention, picking up on this, asking a follow-up question. Those curiosities are what propel you to the end of a date so that you can walk away not thinking that this person is the same person that you thought they were based on your first impression, but being surprised that they're so different than who you thought you were meeting when you walked in the door. When we make up our mind ahead of time, we stop asking questions. We stop being interested. Going in with an open heart and open mind and that sense of curiosity will project you into a much more fulfilling and happier dating life. So no more labeling people, no more judging books by the cover. Take your curiosity, sling it over your back, just curiosity at the start, and see if that makes a big difference for you in your dating life. And then I encourage you to come back here, leave a comment, and let us all know how it goes when you try something new that's actually good for you. I appreciate you stopping by today. I hope you found it interesting and or helpful. If you did, give the episode a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you could use a little help approaching people in the wild and making those connections with people that you're meeting in person as opposed to using the apps, then I encourage you to grab my free guide. It's down in the description box. Click the button, I want this, send it to me. It shows up in your email immediately. And I think there's some really helpful stuff for how to get a real life relationship up off the ground and give you the confidence to do that. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, have a good one.